past few years has been a bit of an explosion of trans-related films that go beyond the old standard of serial killers, serial killer victims, victim in general, sex worker, or a mix of several or all of the above. This is a very good thing, but did you know that all the way back in the 1980s, there was almost a charming little teen movie about a gay teenage trans guy dealing with transition and his feelings for a straight cis classmate? And that baby Seth Green is in it. He's not playing either of them, though. He's playing a weird little Seth Green type guy.
You wouldn't, by any chance, have an orthochromatic filter. It's hard to describe. It's sort of orange or yellow.
The film in question is 1986's Willy Milly, also known as Something Special, a moderately low-budget little movie that stars Pamela Adlon as Millie Niceman, a butch teen girl suffocated by cartoony stereotype-obsessed parents who wishes to become a boy to escape the gender stereotype forced on them.
10:30. I don't think you ought to be traipsing around the neighborhood at this hour.
Daddy, how am I going to be an astronomer if I'm not allowed to go out at night?
Well, maybe you ought to find a daytime hobby.
If I were a boy, you would take me seriously.
That's text in the film, but if you cut that part and start watching from just after the magic transformation, about 25 minutes from the start, it's mostly indistinguishable from a trans movie about the trials and travails of a gay teen dealing with transition. Willy, as he's now called, moves school, makes new friends who don't know about his past. He deals with new stereotypes and expectations, makes adjustments in his life, gets pressured into compulsory heterosexuality.
Can we make out anyway? Sure. Sure. Do you want a French kiss or a regular American? You are so funny.
And falls for a cis guy friend. And to make matters complicated, the cis guy friend falls for him too, and because it's the 80s, he has a PG-rated gay panic about it.
I just can't see you again. Ever. Okay? Goodbye.
Alfie! Alfie, will you tell me what the hell is going on?
Let me go!
Alfie!
Don't touch me.
Why?
Because I'm a faggot.
Oh, no.
So Willy decides to turn back for him. If you watch this, I'd suggest turning it off before the very end, because that ending is just fucked. Because the film very heavily indicates that Willy is indeed some sort of trans. The magical transformation happens because he got a spell that required him to lie in a circle and think of his deepest, darkest heart's desire.
The Niscapi Indians believed that if you spread this in a circle during the moment of the eclipse of the sun and lie inside it, you'd get your deepest, darkest heart's desire.
And he became a boy. The stereotype straitjacket is kind of immaterial at that point. That kid is some kind of trans. Doctors conclude that Willy is intersex and his penis just grew overnight.
Stephanie! Stephanie! Shh!
Was it yours?
Of course it's mine. Whose else could it be?
It's not quite as wild as it sounds because there is precedence for that. In the Dominican Republic, there's a community where girls will sometimes grow a penis at puberty. But that's kind of obscure, and I very much doubt that's what they were thinking when they wrote that scene. You might be wondering about his tits, or sudden lack of them, but thankfully the film doesn't touch on that, literally or figuratively. Anyway, his over-the-top, cartoony, stereotype-obsessed parents insist that he decide a gender.
There will be no girlish boys in this family. You make your decision and abide by it. Black or white, boy or girl.
And Willy suggests being what would now be seen as gender fluidity, being both or switching between them.
Can I be both?
I'll still be a girl on the inside, Ma. That'll be our secret.
Though it's a little unclear if that's how he actually feels or if he's trying to avoid his parents fighting. I lean towards the latter.
Our being a boy is ridiculous.
What? I'm a boy. Am I ridiculous?
Adlon does really well with the role of Willy. You could almost see it as a practice run for the role of Bobby Hill in a weird way. Teen boy, complicated relationship with his well-meaning parents, and a bit genderly interesting. There's all sorts of things going on in this film that kind of sit in the grey area between weird 80s shit and just weird shit in general. Like Willy's best friend Stephanie being almost instantly attracted to him post-transformation.
Hiya, big boy.
As in, within 2 minutes, we see her go from screaming in surprise to this exchange.
Can you do things with it? Like what?
Like, I don't know.
And then later on, she tries to seduce Sam.
Well, it's a new set. For Evergreen Moore. Do you like it?
It's nice.
The film really seems to be trying to indicate that Willy is really a girl with his disinterest in Stephanie and being into Alfie, the cis guy from his new school. But with the benefits of hindsight and years of societal evolution, we can see that it's not as simple as that. Some people are gay, some people are trans. Ergo, some trans people are gay. A lot of the drama comes from a high school senior falling for Willy.
You are so funny.
You see, Willy has basic knowledge about woman stuff.
You're wearing Shalimar. I'd know that smell anywhere. You this cute for a living, or does it, like, come naturally?
And doesn't treat her like a sex object, so she falls in love with them.
You want me to call you? Yeah.
All this is drama because her brother is Willy's new school's king bully, who makes life hell for his new friends.
That's Harry Harrow. We call him Harry the Horror.
So we can't exactly let her know that he's not interested. Anyway, because the film is kind of ambivalent about what Willy really is, all the things that interest her about him can be read as him being stereotypically gay. Because a recurring thing in this is conflating gay man and woman. Kinda. It's hard to explain because this is an already odd film that plays with gender and sexuality in a horrifically homophobic time, so whatever the intentions they had, and however you interpret it, it ends up as kind of an uncanny valley thing of sex, sexuality, and gender. For instance, there's a scene where Alfie, the guy Willy likes, attempts to show off his gang's new bachelor pad, a site where they intend to bring girls and make out. And Alfie decides to show off all the amenities to Willy by getting him to pretend to be a girl that he just brought back there.
I think your voice should be a little higher.
I'm very thirsty.
Of course, we've been dancing all night.
Which is really awkward for Willy and accidentally kicks off their mutual attraction. Someone, not me, could do a whole video about the gender and sexuality stuff going on here. The ending is the worst part of the film by far. The initial magic transformation is fine. It's the 80s and the film is a bit of a cartoon. Having a realistic transition would have been weird and probably not been allowed. But the ending is just awful. Willy, who has spent the film, male and female, unsure of which he is but seems to have come down on the side of Guy, decides to turn back for teen love. That's just doomed. Best case scenario, Milly retransitions the usual way 20 years later, and Alfie just hangs himself. And I don't expect anything groundbreaking here, no heavy drama, just a film that, in big swathes, is a mostly positive depiction of a teenage gay trans guy, in a very heightened 80s and cartoony way. An odd film that just gets odder with time because it stays stuck in the 80s and society's understanding of sexuality and gender continues to develop. It's not perfect, it's silly, the ending is terrible, and some of it is really fucking weird.
Can you do things with it?
Like what?
Like, I don't know.
But it really seems like it's a story that's trying to grapple with some stuff ahead of its time, and succeeding at least in bits.
Can I be both?
Maybe the biggest weakness in the film is that it can't get beyond the homophobia of the time, that it can't allow itself to actually depict homosexuality, instead leaving it as a negative off-screen thing.
Forget it, Niceman. Look, I've got a problem. I'm not taking you with me.
Wait, Alfie!
In a film made in a less homophobic time, things would be very different. Not just with Willy and Alfie, but with Stephanie. She's best friends with Milly, instantly wants to fuck Willy, tries to seduce him, and then goes right back to being best friends when he transforms back. Someone, again, not me, could write a whole other video about that. Anyway, this is an odd film. In some ways, it's ahead of its time, so very problematic, extremely silly, but at the same time, it, mostly by accident, is a pretty good look at a gay teen trans guy. Assuming you maybe cut the start and definitely cut the end. Trust me, nothing of value is lost. It's kind of a rare film, but it's in that sweet spot where it's hard to find in DVD, but easy to find in YouTube. Because the people who own the rights really don't give a fuck. Last time I checked, it was there. Give it a look if it sounds interesting. And if any of you are gay trans guys and have your own thoughts on the film, I'd love to know them. I'm sure they're more interesting than mine.
she look cute?
He, Doris. He.
You went out with a boy?
Who?
Willie.
No, he... I thought you meant...
Oh, one last thing. Here's the original movie poster for the film. Just breathe that in. It's not often you get to see a movie poster that's a sex crime involving multiple children and a fucking dog.